Welcome. Today we are diving into one of the most intense and honestly visually stunning sections of the entire Bible, Ezekiel chapters 6 through 10. This is a really profound and sobering vision of divine judgment.
So we're going to walk through this whole prophecy in 5 distinct acts. We'll follow Ezekiel's vision right from the first proclamations of judgment all the way to its really heartbreaking conclusion.
All right, so our story begins with this sweeping prophecy against the landscape of Israel itself. And this is interesting. God isn't just targeting the people. He's targeting the high places. You know, the mountains and hills they had turned into centers for idol worship, which was a direct violation of their covenant with him.
God makes it absolutely clear that this judgment is a direct response to their widespread idolatry. I mean, it had become so ingrained in their culture that their unfaithfulness was physically carved into the very geography of the Promised Land.
The destruction that's described here is, well, it's total. It's aimed at completely dismantling the entire infrastructure of their false worship. And you have to notice the stark poetic justice here, right? The punishment directly mirrors the sin. The people worshipped lifeless idols, and now their own lifeless bodies will be scattered before those exact same idols. But even in this incredibly harsh judgment, there's this tiny glimmer of hope. God promises that a remnant, a small group, is gonna survive. And in their exile, far away from the idols that deceive them, they will finally remember God, feel the true weight of what they've done, and repent. So the crucial point here is that this judgment isn't just about punishment. It's a severe, clarifying course correction. It's designed to strip away everything false so that the one truth that matters, God's identity and His holiness, can finally be known.
Okay, so let's jump into chapter 7, where the tone shifts dramatically. The general prophecy becomes this urgent, almost frantic warning. The time for judgment is no longer some distant future thing. It has arrived. It's here.
You can just feel the intensity, can't you? That repetition. The end is come. It's like an intense drumbeat of finality. The prophecy actually personifies the end, saying it's been watching and waiting, and now it's about to pounce. There is no escape.
And this just nails a core theme. Every form of earthly security, especially the wealth they put their trust in instead of God, will prove to be completely worthless. The text even says they will literally throw their silver into the streets in disgust because it completely failed to save them.
So chapter 7 is a pretty stark reminder. A society's moral and spiritual health has real-world consequences. God's justice is tailored. When He says He judges people according to their ways, it means their own actions are coming back to haunt them.
And now the vision takes a stunning turn. We shift from what is coming to why it's coming. In the Spirit, God literally takes Ezekiel on this supernatural tour of the temple in Jerusalem to show him the corruption that's festering at the very heart of their worship.
So God guides Ezekiel deeper and deeper into the sanctuary. And with each step, the desecration gets worse. It starts with a public idol, this image of jealousy that's provoking God's righteous covenantal anger. Then it moves to the hypocrisy of leaders worshiping reptiles in secret, then to pagan rituals right at the entrance. And the climax? The priests themselves in the inner court turning their backs on God's holy presence to worship the sun. This phrase is repeated to Ezekiel. It's like God is saying, you think that's bad? Just you wait. Look closer. It just highlights the escalating horror of this guided tour into the depths of spiritual decay.
And the key takeaway here is so powerful. God isn't just abandoning His people arbitrarily. He is being driven away. He's leaving His sanctuary because His own people are actively defiling it from the inside out.
So, the horrifying revelations of chapter 8 lead directly into the divine response. There's no delay at all. Heavenly executioners are summoned to perform a holy purge of the city. But the judgment is not indiscriminate. First, a celestial scribe with a writer's inkhorn goes through the city. He places a protective mark on the foreheads of those who are genuinely grieved, who sigh and cry over the surrounding sin. Only those without the mark are subject to the 6 executioners who follow. And this is one of the most chilling commands in the entire book. Judgment isn't random, it is precise. And God commands it to start with the corrupt spiritual leaders, the ancient men, right there in the very house of God.
This chapter really drives home a powerful lesson on spiritual accountability. The standard is highest for those who are supposed to represent God, and their failure invites the most severe judgment first.
And now we reach the tragic climax of this entire vision.
After the temple has been defiled by sin and then purged by judgment, the ultimate, most devastating consequence occurs.
The scene just explodes with this incredible otherworldly imagery of God's mobile throne chariot, which is carried by the cherubim. These are the awesome and terrifying guardians of God's holiness, and their wheels, they're covered in eyes, symbolizing that God sees and knows everything. They are the agents of both judgment, scattering those coals of fire, and of His very presence.
Now, this isn't like flipping a switch. The text describes a slow, deliberate, solemn procession. The glory of the Lord, which is the visible manifestation of His presence, lifts from the inner sanctuary, moves to the threshold, it hovers there, and then finally departs. The gravity of what is being lost is felt in every single measured step.
The crucial point here is just the heartbreaking tragedy of it all. The very presence of God that defined Israel, the thing that made the temple sacred in the first place, is now leaving. This is the spiritual death of the nation's heart, and it leaves behind just an empty stone building.
So as we look back, these 5 chapters paint this really clear and powerful narrative of spiritual cause and effect. Unfaithfulness leads to corruption. Corruption invites judgment. And the ultimate judgment, the most devastating loss, is the removal of God's own presence.
Ezekiel's ancient vision isn't just a history lesson. It leaves us with this timeless and deeply personal question. It urges us to really consider the state of our own hearts, our own sacred spaces, and our communities.